The 5 methods to capture a process are: 1. Through individual staff of small group interviews. 2. Through facilitated discovery workshops. 3. Through analysis of existing documentation. 4. Through business analysis design. And 5. Through import of existing process maps. In many cases, a combination of several of the 5 are required to obtain the right degree of accuracy. Now, let's go through each method one by one. 1. Individual staff or small group interviews. This method is used when the content of the process map is likely to be relatively straightforward, so only a small sample of those that perform the process are required to be involved in its definition. The business analyst is responsible for gathering the process info through direct questioning of the sample group. First, define the start and end points of the process you will capture. Then, capture the major steps involved. These are activities, and finally, fill in the detail of what is produced by each of these activities. These are deliverables. Tips for success: have a prepared set of topics to cover and specific questions. Limit the time to 1 hour per session. If discussion is getting blocked on a specific area, then come back to it later. Never overrun. Find an endpoint and stick with it. Number 2, facilitated discovery workshops. This method is used to capture details from a larger group, but processes tend to be captured at a higher level with less detail. Discovery workshops can be productive over a longer period than interviews. Transcribe the process in near real time to a projected system. This can be achieved by using a facilitator and a mapper. It enables the workshop to flow continuously and for the team to see the process develop in real time. Tips for success: involve people. Keep as much energy, variation, and interest in the workshop as possible. Keep to time. Stick to the facilitation process. Number 3, analysis of existing documentation. It can be difficult to translate existing documentation into a process map, but it could also be a big time saver if a process can be developed from documentation alone. The technique is most useful in process mature environments, where the aim of the mapping exercise is to modernize, reduce the documentation burden, or review the existing management system rather than create content from scratch. Tips for success: only use finishes. This is a job for those who stay until the job is done. Get all the documentation sources together at the beginning and keep that as the defined scope. 4. Business analysis design. This is the greenfield approach to mapping, particularly useful when the process doesn't yet exist. It is typically seen, therefore, in re-engineering projects and organizational or project startups. It can also be useful in environments where it's difficult to access subject matter experts. Tips for success: don't guess. If you cannot be sure, then don't make assumptions. Time box your productivity. For example, attempt to create 4 A4 pages per day of process. 5. Import of existing processes. Sources tend to be one of 3 types: unstructured, involving documents, slides, film and spreadsheets; structured, involving process maps and flowcharts, for example; and interchangeable, formally modeled UML, BPMN, and so on. Tips for success: be clear about what you're importing. Is it just the images you want? Or is it the meaning of the image? If the latter, recognize it is a software capability and standards issue rather than anything else. For a more in-depth evaluation of these methods, please visit our blog, and as always, thanks very much for watching.